Good morning, mathematicians. Today we're on to lesson 6.5, rotations and angles. Our goal of this lesson or learning target is to review rotations, and we're going to be doing this by using a full circle and protractor. For your warm-up today, we're actually going to be standing up and doing a short activity with some rotations. So please quietly stand up in your spot and listen for directions. Let's go and apply this to a clock that's right in our math journal. So turn to page 152 in your math journal. Here you'll see that each of the numbers on the clock are labeled inside, and they have a corresponding line outside. If we counted all the way around all these little tiny lines, there are 360. That's because there are 360 degrees in a circle. So when we're measuring around, or the angle of something, or turns, we are talking in terms of degrees. So angles are measured in degrees. The symbol we use for this is just a little tiny circle. So when we start at the top of our clock here, where the 12 would be, this is 0 degrees. The rest of the clock, so we said it's 360, we have 12 different numbers going around, so we can do 360 divided by 12. When we do 360 divided by 12, 360 divided by 12, we know it's just like doing 36 divided by 12, which equals 3, and adding a 0, so it's 30 degrees. That tells us that each of the increments from the 12 to the 1 or the 1 to the 2 between each number is 30 degrees. So let's just count up by 30s. We have 0 degrees, we have 30 degrees, we have 60 degrees, we have 90 degrees. Go ahead and label the rest of the clock counting up by 30s. The top of the clock is 0 or it's 360, so we'll put both, but just put a slash in between because it could be called either of those. So now we looked at our clock and we said we are doing 3/4 of a turn. That would mean that we're going from the 12, 3/4 of the way around the clock, all the way to where the 9 o'clock is. So 3/4 of a turn is 270 degrees, or 45 minutes later. What if we start at the top and did half a turn? Well, in half an hour, how much time has passed by? Right, 30 minutes, so we'd be all the way at the bottom of the clock. So half a turn is how many degrees? Right, 180 degrees. Let's say if we start at the top and we did 1/12 of a turn. How many minutes is that? 5 minutes or 30 degrees. We're going to use this clock to help us solve some problems on the next page of our math journal. So on page 153, who would like to read the directions for us? Alright, now we're going to think how many minutes and how many degrees does the minute hand move. So if we're going from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, how many minutes have passed by? Right, 60 minutes. Now if we look back at our clock that's all labeled, how many degrees is it when we go all the way around the clock, or 60 minutes? 360 degrees. Turn and talk with your partner to try B through H together. And here's a challenge one. How many degrees does the hour hand move in 1 hour? So if our hour hand moved from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, how many degrees? 30 degrees. What about in half an hour? Well, now we're only moving half that distance. And what about in 10 minutes? Who can explain how we know that in 10 minutes we had only moved 5 degrees? Let's write this out together, because we know when we explain our work, we need to have some numbers to back up our ideas, and we need to explain it in words. So here's one way we could say it. I know that the hour hand moves 30 degrees in 1 hour. There are 6 groups of 10 minutes in an hour. I ran out of space, so I'm going to write over to this side here. So there are 6 groups of 5 degrees and 30, or in other words, 30 degrees divided by 6 equals 5. So as we continue in this unit, we're going to be using a protractor, similar to what we just did, and measuring some different angles. Today then you're going to finish up some other practice that's kind of some review work. You're going to work with the population bar graph on page 154, and then you're going to practice some more elapsed time on 2 pages. Here's a review of our learning journey today. Today you're working with rotations and angles and some other review. We already did the math journal page, make you a full circle, protractor. We did clock angles. You still need to do the population bar graph, the elapsed time, and complete your math boxes. When you're done, if you have an activity B work, you're on blend space activity E. If you're an activity C math student, you have a math masters and then the blend space. Make it a great day.